I'm just a fly on your wall, dear.
Here we are, and we are live. Welcome to our Monday night episode 17 of the B.A.M series. I'm so excited. We are getting on a little late, but Brandon and I were like totally chopping it up just now, and
Oh,
it
yeah.
was too good to interrupt. So, thank you guys, and thank you to all of you who will tune in tonight or watch the replay. My name is Rachael Pioltini. I'm a person in long-term recovery, and I'm really grateful to just be alive and to be present. I'm grateful for February. I'm grateful for
Amen.
just, my whole thing of gratitude could just go on and on and on. I'm really excited to have Brandon on here with us. We're going to get touch here in just a minute. Um, we'll touch on his story, but just before, we always, for those of you guys who aren't familiar, Beyond Addiction Mosaic, I just lost my train of thought because I was reading the comments. Our mission,
You're still riding that wave.
our mission here at Beyond Addiction Mosaic is to bring resources to life beyond addiction. And with that, we're here to, everybody has kind of heard that saying the opposite of addiction is connection. And that's what Brandon and I are here tonight to do, is to create a safe space for people to just be a part of something and to connect with some people and to hear our story and to
Absolutely.
listen to our struggle, and just have a real moment, where a lot of us we're going to talk about this in just a second, but COVID has changed the world clearly for everybody. You
Absolutely.
know,
It's
yeah,
nuts out
for
there.
everybody. We're 9 months, 10 months into it. In March next month, right? Will
Yep.
be one full year of some crazy shit. And
Fucking
so, yeah,
absolutely.
yeah,
It's nuts.
and so him and I were just kind of talking about what it's been like for the past year, for you, like,
Like,
and there's
so to be honest with you, I mean, I couldn't have said it any better. Like we were talking earlier, it is truly that time of the year, or I can't even say that time of the year because 2020 opened up our eyes to a lot of things, a lot of changes in our world, a lot of changes in politics. I've literally seen a nation divide like that, completely splinter. And I would lean over to my wife and I would tell her, like, babe, this is relapse season. Like, this whole year is going to be difficult for so many people on so many different levels. Andrew, what's going on? On so many different levels, man. And this is the time where we need to interact more. We need to be more open. We need to be more out there. We need to share our experiences because at the end of the day, I don't know about you, but when I was younger, when I'm in a dare class in elementary, junior high, whatever, you're seeing all these, officer friendlies come in and tell you, just, don't do drugs. Drugs are bad, okay? And all that type of stuff. I mean, let's be frank. Your parents told you don't do that from the time you were little and you went and did that, which is why we're at where we're at. Where it's
right,
easier for me to connect with somebody who has been with been in the mix, who has walked in the shoes that I've walked. I mean, can't necessarily say that because no one knows what it's like to be me from my perspective, but we all are binded and share similar situations and experiences. And that's what we all have in common. We are all victims of this disease, this epidemic. And I was thinking about it earlier, like one way, and it doesn't matter what way, shape, or form, everybody that and really think and do the math, like almost everyone has been affected by drug abuse, period, point blank, whether they did it indirectly, victims of. Like, I've had friends who have passed away. I've had friends, rest in peace, who have been victims of drunk driving incidents where they weren't drunk nor driving. I've had friends pass away from suicide, and at some point in time, you just got to put your foot down and say, you know what, not today, not me. I am going to break the cycle. I'm going to break the chain. I am going to make the decision to do different. I'm going to
yeah,
dare to be different. To hell with everybody. And it really does amount to drawing that line in the sand. And what people always tend to get misconstrued, and what I used to as well, is that just because I draw a line in the sand and say, hey, I don't want to be a junkie anymore. It doesn't mean I want to cut off people that I love or care about just because they're in drug abuse. It means I need to disassociate myself from the toxicity at that point in time in order to heal. Once I can heal and I can get my confidence back and I can get uh, uh, reacclimated to surviving in this world, especially in today's world and society, substance abuse free, with a level mind and a level head and a clear and open heart. You have to take yourself out of the lion's den in order to study the lion. People like me, I like to learn things the hard way, and unfortunately that's been to my own detriment for so many years. We're talking, I just barely got off APP again for the fourth time since
Huh.
the early 2000s, since probably when most of these listeners were still in elementary or junior high. Some of them, man, like, it's crazy. I'm old. I
Yeah.
got gray in my beard, bro.
Listen, I'm starting to see that I got lots of grace coming in. It's getting all kinds of bad.
Dude, it's
You
hectic.
know,
It's hard out here for a pimp. I don't mean to
I'm
say it like
telling
that, but it's
you,
rough. It's rough.
it's rough.
But you got to figure that me and my lifestyle. I mean, I've been fortunate. I've been blessed. Not a day goes by I don't count my blessings. Not a day goes by. Michael, you're a fool. Sorry, I'm reading these comments as they're streaming in, and I'm just
Oh
like,
no,
yeah.
did I lose my train of thought all the time? All the time. So
Respect,
tell me this.
respect.
So okay, so let's go. So let's start. You're an artist. You're a musician.
Yeah.
We talked a little bit just before, just because I think it's awesome. Because listen, I'm not an artist in any way, shape, or form. I know how to help people. Praise the Lord. I can't
Hey,
draw. I can't sing. I can't do any kind of music. I try.
hey,
I
hey.
just sing. But
Singing in
listen,
the shower
nobody
counts.
wants. I got a
Don't
good
get it
shower
twisted.
voice when
I've been
nobody's
on TikTok.
listening.
Like I just discovered TikTok, right? Much to my dismay. And let me tell you, there are so many non-musically inclined people out there on TikTok who make it work.
Yeah,
It's
yeah. I should start
entertaining as
doing my
hell.
TikTok on that. You
You
missed
know
my
what I
Christmas
mean?
singing.
But it's I'm blessed. It's beautiful. Like, to have lived the life that I've lived, and for me being incarcerated for 7 some odd years, off and on, prisons, several different prisons in 2 different states, like, you know what I mean? Like, I have truly have lived a charmed life. I've had the opportunity to meet people. I've had the opportunity to travel. I've had the opportunity to not necessarily rub shoulders with people that I looked up to in hip hop and whatever else, but to be able to have a front row or side stage or green screen vantage point and seeing all this is a very rush. It's a high in itself. It's a rush. It's beautiful.
Yeah,
And uh, I think music, like math, is a language that it doesn't matter if you're red, white, black, blue, orange, your ethnicity, your religious preference, your political views. We all listen to music, man. Period.
yeah,
Point blank. Um, to be honest, if it wasn't for music, if it wasn't for fitness, if it wasn't for me having the very few, I say few, like, and I mean just that, very few people who genuinely supported me and were constantly rooting me on and knowing that I can get sober and do it, but also allowing me to fall on my ass and to live with the consequences of my bad decisions in order to get to this point. I wouldn't trade that for the world. Oh snap! I see Casper.
Hmm. So tell us this. So like, what was it like for you growing up? So let's talk about
Oh boy.
who you were. How did how did you become who you became to become who you are today?
Oh dude, my parents were awesome. I'll put it that way. I am from Layton, Utah. Represent. I am a
Huh.
Utah boy to the fullest. I will fight and stand on. I'm very proud of the fact I'm from Utah. Let's just put it that way. 801 and jazz, purple, yellow, and green run through these veins, dude. Straight up. Like,
Huh.
now fight. No, but my parents were both hardworking people. My mother was a vice president of Zion's Bank. My dad actually started the gang task force out here. Yikes, right?
So you were that kind of kid.
Yeah, which I was going to get into.
The
Like,
kid that rebelled
you know
everything
what
his
they say
dad was
about
out
the
there fighting
bishop's
for.
kids and the cops' kids, and yeah, I was a bad motherfucker. I'll keep it. I'll keep it. I'll keep it simple and plain. But he started the gang task force out here. He's a very, very highly decorated officer. There's books and movies. There's a movie about my dad now, like that Black Klansman. I don't know if you've seen it. Came out in 2017, but it won a couple Academy Awards. But that's a book my dad wrote about his first undercover assignment, and he actually wrote the book. It did so well on Amazon. It was in top 3 for like 3-4 years that Jordan Peele read it, pitched it to Spike Lee. Spike Lee read it, loved it, called my dad. They flew him out. They talked. They made a movie in which my dad had a lot of creative control, and that movie won Spike Lee his first ever Oscar, or not Oscar, yeah, Oscar, Academy Award, and Golden Globe. So that's coming from that, man, is where I come from. I was very, very, my parents were loving but strict. I played sports year round almost my entire life. Um, I was one of the last ones of all my friends to actually use hard drugs per se, at least in regards to meth and heroin. You know what I mean? I was the kid who was always out there in the living room, and you know how when you're getting high, when we used to get high, and you'd have the one person who's out front, and then you have the babysitter while everyone else is in the back room doing Lord knows what. Yeah, I was the kid that everyone was babysitting, like, and then I'm wondering why the hell like the faces keep changing every 5 minutes. Like, what's going on, dude? What are you guys doing? I'm trying to watch some TV and play some Xbox, and how come my partner keeps switching every fucking 30 seconds, man? Like, this isn't the way to win Madden. you know, you know what I mean? But
Yeah.
uh, yeah, man, my biggest issue growing up was just the company I chose to keep. I was all for one for all type of guy. Definitely on that Three Musketeers thing. I would go to war for my friends. The majority of the time that I've done has been for other people, not by no fault of my own, just by me being a hothead, and I had something to prove. The fact that I'm a cops kid and I'm black in Layton,
Yeah.
that's it's a culture shock. I grew up in a predominantly white and Latino area where that's pretty much all there is. I'm one of, like, at the time, you got to figure this is the late 80s, and 90s and whatnot. And I graduated in '04, but you got to figure that this is the era where there's like maybe 3 black families in in,
Yeah.
in
And the
Layton.
whole northern Utah and
Exactly.
all of northern Utah
Unless,
and 3
unless you're
counties
in
together.
Ogden. Yeah, and we all
Yeah.
know each other, are related somehow or something. You know how it goes.
Yeah.
So, really, it was like trying to struggle with like my identity and who I am. But I mean, I know who I am. I'm raised on Black history. I am administered old school punishment. My parents never coddled me. I didn't ever was given anything. I had to earn absolutely everything I've ever needed or wanted. I learned how to cook and clean at a very early age. My mother, rest in peace, she had cancer and died on my 19th birthday from esophageal cancer. And I had to spend
Sorry.
Oh, it's okay. Once upon a time, it was a deep wound. I like to think that, although it is still a wound, it's a lot of time has passed. I'm 35 now, so I've had plenty of time. It's a scar,
Yeah.
But in retrospect, through my experiences, I've had a lot of time to reflect, and that's the primary reason why I was doing a lot of the things I was doing, and a lot of the moves I was making was influenced by the fact that my mom is sick and my mother's my best friend. You got to understand, and for me to be in a position where I could lose my biggest support system, me and my dad are butting heads all the time. I'm always getting arrested. I literally lived like a double life. I was that good kid at the school, but then or at home, I'd go to school out in public and then I'd be wild. You know what I mean? Always the extremist, always had to, talk the loudest, fight the most. And it I lost a lot because of that mentality, just with young, dumb, and something to prove. And that's all that was a direct cause of my latter drug abuse. I was one of those guys where I was smoking pot at a very early age. I think I first smoked when I was like 9. I was drinking in middle school, junior high. I didn't even touch anything bad until I was 18. But that was one of the reasons why I ended up dropping out of school. It's one of the reasons why I got my forgery charges. All the reasons that I ever just deliberately just beat someone up for God knows what reason, looking back, is all just due to that rage and frustration being fueled with those mind altering substances and those chemicals that just threw things out of whack, and not knowing how to vent or having people to vent to who can understand where you're coming from. I didn't have that at the time, so I did the only thing I could do, which I think every addict, I think we all have a part of us that is incredibly self-destructive. Me, so very much in particular, that was pretty much my MO for my whole life until recently. Is I'll get a little taste of success and doing things the right way, instantaneous. I self-sabotage. I fuck everything up,
Yeah.
and it was because of music and the gym and things like that, and outlets that I had that were positive and therapeutic that allowed me to channel that. Otherwise I could have probably been off a lot worse. So I mean, you can relate, I'm sure.
Oh, dude, yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
she's all shit.
Listen, bath salt and meth were my best friend for a very long time. A very long time. Like I was the one who, I was having a conversation with someone the other day and it was like, why do you have to get so bad? And why is it so hard? Like, because I was the mom who loved my children and I was like Martha Stewart
Yeah,
to bath salt mama who never comes home, missing birthdays, missing everything. And my children who I loved so much, because you have kids, right?
absolutely,
So
absolutely.
you know what it's like when the minute you see that newborn child, like you completely fall in love, right?
Absolutely, there's
Like
no
your
other
world
experience.
changed. I have chills just saying that. Like, you
Yeah,
know,
I
you're
see. I get goose pimple.
I'm like, yeah, they are there. Like your whole
Ah!
entire world changes. And it's so crazy how you can love something so much and then a substance will completely change everything about your life. So you go
Absolutely.
from working and living a normal life and
Right.
whatever to becoming the person that you were told not to. I had this conversation with my kids the other day and we were just talking about like because we watch these shows and like one of the shows we're watching, one of the guys became an addict for this episode and it was like so sad because they watched it and it's like, how do you explain to a child, because when we were young, right, they told us
Oh
don't
yeah,
drink, we drank. They said don't smoke, we smoked. They said
absolutely.
don't do drugs, we did drugs.
Yeah.
you know
Oh,
no issue about it. Like we're having a recovery
absolutely,
conversation because we did everything they told us not to.
absolutely.
What so hard to explain is and I try to like get this out to my kids is like, that it'll never happen to me. I'll only do it one time. And then the obsession starts and it's like, oh my
Mhm.
gosh, I just want one more and one more. And like I teach a Prime for Life class. And so in the class we kind of go over the different, risk factors and the low risk choices to high risk choices. And it's like, listen, let's just keep it real. Me, right? Me, it's always been like this for me. I want more. I
Yep.
want more.
Yep. Me
Never,
too.
never ever been enough.
Yep.
Never,
Me
ever,
as
ever,
well.
ever, ever.
There
From the
is
very,
no
very
there is no
beginning.
cap. There is
Yeah.
no cap.
Yep.
You
Since the
know.
very beginning, I always wanted more. Every time. Like there was never, oh, let's just do a little bit. It was like, I need a lot more.
Yep.
And it
Yep.
doesn't matter if I'm sick. And it didn't matter if I got in trouble and I got home late. And it didn't matter if I went to jail. And it didn't
Exactly.
matter, if my at the time husband was getting mad at me. It didn't matter. It didn't matter
Yeah.
because I needed more. And so it's crazy how those things can happen because it's like you never like it's hard to teach these kids. The kids are who we
It
have to
is.
teach because it's like that's the goal. you know.
You have to look at the, like, with that exact statement in mind, consider the world we live in today. You know, you got to understand that I myself, I'm 35 years old. Okay. I was born in 85. So you got to figure that I grew up in a time where there was a clear right, a clear wrong. Things weren't as accessible, but we spent more time out and about. We had things that were healthy, and you know, like I I'm as a parent, I'm terrified because things that I had to gradually learn through evolution and puberty, my daughter and my
Doing
sons
during COVID.
couldn't. They have it exactly, especially during COVID. They have it at the press of a button. And I don't know about you, but my now 7-year old daughter is so fluent with YouTube, with Netflix, with she. I don't know how she just. Yeah, I can do that. She can lock you out of shit. She can change passwords. What the
I know, dude. Listen, I couldn't even
kids can
figure out how to
bypass parental
fix this stuff
controls.
that was going wrong in the beginning.
Yeah. So the fact that we are in a day and age where they literally come out with a new iPhone every 3 to 6 months.
I know.
Boom, 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 boom,
I
boom.
know.
And with that along, like, how do you tell? I mean, I remember when I was younger, I remember watching, like, I don't know, I'm a movie buff as well, but like Basketball Diaries with Leonardo DiCaprio. It was one of one of the movies. Dead Presidents was another one. Requiem for a Dream, which was another one, which was all like, okay, this is upfront, intense drug abuse, depending on what age you're viewing it, that's being done right in front of your face. You know what I mean? And that was scary. I remember sitting here seeing shit like that, like, fuck, not me. You got me fucked up. Absolutely
Yeah.
not. Just to flash forward years later when my innocence is gone, and you know, the gang banging and the 9 days up in apartment buildings naked with a gun out the window type shit, which I've also done, mind you. You know, probably TMI for our listeners, but I mean, like, I go back and I watch things like that, and I remember feeling that knot in the pit of my stomach, like, dude, I don't want to end up like that. I don't want to be that. And then here I am, you know, in Pioneer Park, robbing spitters and things like that. You know what I mean? Like, it's a double edged sword. It
Yeah.
truly is, and we live in a society where anything we want and need, we don't have to. We're becoming lazy. We're becoming too informed and too lazy way too fast all at once, to where we don't have to get out and interact with people if we don't want to. Some of people's best friends nowadays, especially younger generations, some of their best friends live thousands of miles away, and they talk and about shit you and me can even begin to fathom
I
in,
know.
in
I
these
know.
yeah, and they're talking online while they're playing Call of Duty and shit. Like,
I know. It's crazy.
it's
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 different.
yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Like, I don't want to necessarily say it's great. I mean, because there's certain cool things about having all sorts of technology at a push of a button, but the fact that we become so reliant upon it
Yeah.
is what is unnerving, and especially for the addict, especially the one who is an active addict, who's currently in active addiction. It's a very, very intense thing for me, at least, to think about. Like, I drive around all the time, and I talk to old friends, and I'm like, dude, I'm so glad I don't have those types of behavior problems or patterns anymore. I'm so glad I don't have to worry like that or stress. And
Yeah.
I remember at a time where it was second nature and really not that big of a deal, like, there's that stress factor, but as soon as you get from point A to point B with what you can't went to go get, then all that stress is gone. I'm good.
Yeah.
And it's sad, really. It truly
Yeah.
is. So I've dedicated this part of my life to where I got out. I drew my line in the sand, and I said, hey, look, this is who I am. This is what I'm going to do. These are my goals. This is how I'm going to get to them. And fuck the world if they have a problem with it. The people who weren't meant to be on this journey will weed themselves out just because I no longer have something that they need or want from me. The people who were meant to be a part of my journey will find themselves in my car while I'm headed to that place on the horizon. And that's exactly what's happened. And it's been a very beautiful experience. I can't say I'm full circle because as an addict, I would like to think that there's always that possibility
of going back.
yeah, blink of an eye, it could literally be worse off than you ever were. And, I don't know about in your situations, but every time in mine, there's always that first initial couple months where things were good, man. Like it was new, it was exciting, we're having fun. And then shit hits the fan. And when it does, it hits quick. Well, the older I got, and the older I get, I should say, the more times I ended up relapsing and going back. Those fun times became less and less frequent, and those oh shit is about to hit the fan type of got
Run!
more and more frequent. Rather than 6 months of having fun doing dope and meeting all these cool people and learning cool shit, now all of a sudden, like it's like
Struggle
okay,
got real.
yes, it's 6 days. The last time I relapsed, I'm talking like 6 days, and shit was like, okay, I'm in. It's not gonna work out for me this time.
Well, so you've done something real that's rare, and I hate to say rare, but it is. So you've done, and I'm gratefully proud to say I actually should have my certificate somewhere, and I can't find it. But in January of 2019, I graduated APNP, and I
Right.
got off
Congratulations.
probation. And
Congratulations.
yeah, well, thank you, because that's huge.
It's
Because
huge.
most people don't, a very, very large percent of people who graduate drug court and get off of APNP, they go right back to where they are, right back to where they were, if they can make it to graduation, and that's an if. But if they get to do that, and this last time, I did it straight, the last time I got out of jail, I was on the charge forever, right?
Yeah.
Forever. And I finally got off, my 36 months was only 18 months. And today I'm 3.5 years, and I'm grateful. Like it is all by the grace of God, spiritual awakening, and it happened. But you did that too. You know what I mean? And so that right there is like, you're way ahead of the game, because most people don't get to get
I
there.
appreciate that because there are times you've been through it. I'm sure I know I have where at one point we get we look around. Is the baby moving? Yeah, my boys are gonna be a beast. I have another baby cooking. No, but um shit, I lost my train of thought. You see, that's what happens.
I
No,
know,
but
I know, I know.
no, but
Written on paper, still staying good. You're human. I'm human.
well, no, we get to a point where we look around and we're like, dude, like, am I doing the right thing? Like, people I used to love and care about are becoming, I'm not seeing them as often anymore. You get to, I think each of us in recovery gets to our breaking point to where we're like, is it all worth it? You know what I mean? And as of late, the times where that thought, and they are few and far in between now. I mean, I'll have what is it, 2 years? I'll have 2 years on the 13th of this month.
Hell yeah.
Yes.
Congratulations.
Salute. But
Yeah, that's huge.
it is like I'm just a day at a time. I handle my business. I have a lot of things I do to keep me active and motivated and happy. And now this is a part of what motivates me to do better is to share my experiences. There's times when I do go to these other podcasts, or I go to rehab clinics, or I go to juvenile centers, and I tell these kids whether it's don't do drugs, stay out of gangs, because I've done both. You know what I mean? Um, and for people like you, I think like you guys are some of the lucky ones. Me, unfortunately, like I tried to get into drug court. I tried to get into RSAT. I tried to get into all sorts of drug programs, especially when I was younger and I was trying to avoid going to prison, right?
Yeah.
all the big homies was like, yo, if you don't want to go to prison, homie, dog, you need to like on that PSI, tell them you're a straight up fuck up. Tell them you're a junkie and shit. They'll give you a program, bro, and you'll be cool. I'll be like, word? And they'll be like, word. And I'll be like, okay, cool. So I'll write all this shit down and blow like, which I did have an active drug problem, but I blew it way out of proportion, right? Like
Uh,
I shoot 10 balloons in an hour type shit, right? and I turned it in and I was like 17, 18. I was 18 years old, going on 19. This is right before my mom passed. And I turned my paperwork in, or my PSI packet. That shit came back to me with the quickness like, fuck you're not passing go. You ain't getting no program. Because me, I'm a violent offender. I've never had the only drug charges I had one distribution charge back when the house got, raided years ago, but that had nothing to do with the drugs that was in the house at the time. It had everything to do with all sorts of forged checks that I was doing at the time.
yeah,
Right. So
yeah,
the
yeah.
drugs was like, oh, you got this too. You
Huh.
know what I mean? But it was one of those things to where I tried and it got to a point to where initially I did it, and that's probably why I didn't get in, because they probably saw through the facade like, okay, this is here right here's a young man who has a violent past. I have a very violent and aggressive criminal history. Um, Lots of assaults. I got firearm charges. I got discharging from vehicle charges. All sorts of crazy shit that I had right over the years. And uh, yeah, man. Every time I step in there, I mean, you can't see me because I'm like super dark and whatnot, but I got all sorts of tattoos on my face, and you know, Post Malone and Beyonce had a baby. I guess you know what I mean. Like, because I'm a diva, you know. No,
So
but
tell us this. So you've been in gangs. You've done the most, right? You've had your house raided. You've been in and out of jail and prison.
mhm.
Did you ever get the opportunity to? They didn't give you a program, right? They just threw the book at you every time.
Yep.
So did you ever do a program
Yes.
or?
When I was funny story. So I was actually in prison. I was in for my gun charge. I was in prison. I was having fun. I already had no. I wasn't having fun per se, but I was making the most out of a unfortunate situation, and I was with all sorts of homies and people, from the set and all sorts of other shit, right? Gang terminology and whatnot. But
Yeah, yeah. I know
uh,
what that means.
I get West, y'all. No, so I actually I was out on the yard and I had a couple buddies who were up in Hope because I was down in Gunnison at the time,
Mhm.
and they pulled me out of Draper. They shot me to Gunnison, and I was in Gunnison in Cedar. Went from Cedar to Birch, and I was in Birch, and I was out on the yard, and I was talking to some of my homies who were out on the yard, on my way to class, and they were like, "Hey, man, you should come up here to Hope. All the homies are in there." And these are all people I grew up with. And I was like, fuck no, I ain't doing Hope. I've heard horror stories about it. They try to turn you into a snitch, all sorts of things. I'm cool. You guys have fun with that. These motherfuckers done told their caseworker, yeah, man, gotta pull Stallworth up here. It'll be great. It'll be sick. Dude's so funny. Blah, blah, blah. Next thing you know, they're telling me to roll my shit up. And I'm like, what the fuck? So when I tried to get into a program, they were like, no, fuck you, you're crazy, you need like cognitive thinking and thinking for a change and prime for life, which I also did all that as well, right? But I
Yeah.
was like, I was under the impression, okay, look, I'm gonna go in here, I'm gonna get slung down in ink, I'm gonna get yoked, I'm gonna get my read on and get smart, I'm gonna take some classes, I'm gonna get college out of the way, come out and I'll be cool. So I was already set into that whole part of my trip, and I had already started that leg. Next thing you know, they roll my shit up. They put me in Hope program. I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? Now I got all these dudes telling me what to do and telling me I got to make my bed, which I do anyways, just because my dad growing up and whatnot. But it's like, you got to be fucking kidding me. I might as well be at home at my dad's house if y'all are going to make me.
Yeah.
But I put the work in. I got something out of it. And I like to feel that every time I did something stupid and got busted, which was every time. I'm a horrible criminal. I'll put it that way. Like, if I do something illegal, if I don't get myself caught, which I typically don't, I don't get myself caught. I get told on a lot because I have poor judgment and like, yeah, he's great. He's cool. That's the homie. I've known him for 20 years. Yeah, you've been there. It happens. So,
Yeah, I
you know
know.
what I mean? But I
I
did have
know.
the opportunity to do a program. I did graduate it successfully. Um, so I do have, and I use a lot of that type of format when I do speaking engagements with some of my younger clients, and when I go to schools and things of that nature, that's what I'll typically pull out is I'll start, referencing things that I learned in that program. So it's not to say that it didn't work. I think like any program or rehab or recovery center, it's something you have to be fully prepared and ready and mentally engaged and invested in order to make it successful. You have to want to be clean in order to be clean. 90% of the time, those of us who are getting into pre-treatment programs, we're doing them as this is an alternative to being here for a year, or this is an alternative, this is where I can get in, keep my nose clean, I can beat out in less time. And then I don't know, it's been my experience that just based on all the time that I have done, you got to figure that as a human being, you look at yourself, look at me, when you go to jail, right, and you get out, everything that we are, all our goals that we had set for ourselves, everything that we said we were never going to do again, let's be honest, let's keep it real. Me myself, I say all sorts of, I would talk a good game and I would get out, and there's times I would walk it for a while, but we as human beings want to instantly engage and do shit that we were told we could not do and had been deprived of for so long, whether that's your girl or in your case a dude, or if that's your spouse, if that's dope, if that's smoking some weed, if that's eating a cheeseburger, whatever they said we could not have is typically the very first thing that we do when we get out. People who are successful in this world, who have been the places we've been and done the things we've done, are people that took what they could from the experience that they learned, things and people that they met along the way. You internalize all the shit that is necessary in order for you to be a better version of yourself.
Yeah.
You leave all the other bullshit by the wayside and you move forward. And if you work hard and you are truly invested in being a better individual and a better person, it's my personal belief that you can do anything. I, for one, feel that if you were to ask any one of my friends, and I notice there's several of my people that are listening to this podcast and watching, they'll tell you that I was the one counted out. They'll tell you that I'm a dumbass. They'll tell you I was a dumbass. There's not a person that I know who doesn't have some stupid story about something dumb that I did once upon a time. And I mean that in all sincerity. You know what I mean? All sincerity, whether it was drowning or I stole my buddy's car while he was asleep and then I lied about it and then helped him literally file a police report for his car, which was broke down on the freeway, and helped him find it. And then came clean at the back end, like, yo, okay, nigga, it was me, bro. I stole your shit. My bad, bro. You made me go around for 8 hours and file police reports. You couldn't just lead out with that. We would have fought in the front yard, but I'd have my car. I'd know where I could go get it.
That's funny.
Like, all you need is a gas can, motherfucker. You don't need to file a police report. Go get a gas can. Take a bus.
Yeah.
Bring it back.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
That's funny.
It's based on a true story, though. It's crazy.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. So you got so good. So you did a program. You get out. You started, and then you found music. Well, you've always had music.
Yeah, absolutely.
So you got reconnected into music, and music. Would you say music is kind of what helped inspire you to find recovery this last time?
Yeah. So this time it was like it was a combination. So music, like you said, it's always been something that I've done. I was always that kid who could memorize every rap song from '87 to yesterday.
Yeah.
Always that kid who was always, freestyling drunk at houses and parties, and it just was a hobby that turned into a passion, and it's something that I just happened to be pretty, decent at, in my personal opinion. So I had the opportunity where I was introduced to a certain set of people at a good time in my life, and we all had that, hip hop, and we had music and, battling and ciphers in common, and it's something that just grew into a collective that just turned into a thing. And it's between that, this last time, it definitely played a big factor. But I decided to get back into the gym, man. I was just starting to get a lot of, not necessarily health problems, but I just wasn't feeling good. I was sluggish. I looked sickly. I'm a big guy. I weigh 235, 240. So you got to figure that this big ass head on a skinny, cracked out neck and a bird chest doesn't look too appealing to the opposite sex. You know what I mean? So,
Mm.
needless to say, I got into a routine, which, just from like playing, sports all my life and whatnot, has always been there for me. The gym as well. But I had a structured routine. I dedicated myself to it. I worked out consistently the entire time I was gone. When I got out, I was like, okay, aside from music and everything that we were doing with Rap to Recovery and everything else, it was like, okay, with all this stuff that I have, are the tools that I need to be successful. I got my goals. I already plan on getting this job. I already got a routine that I know keeps me centered and keeps me humble, and it's a positive outlet for me to take all this anger and aggression and all this negativity and channel it into something that's pure and that's going to better me and my, not necessarily in mind and body, but also in my spirit as well. So I it boiled down to a decision, which I feel everything does with everybody.
Yep.
What separates a good person from a not necessarily a bad person is in my personal opinion is a decision. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
uh, One decision could determine whether I've seen a lot of good people make horrible decisions, and I've seen a lot of bad people make great decisions. And I base success on hard work and perseverance, but also on about those that series of decision making. You know what I mean? One wrong move can literally set you back 10 years, and I can attest to that. So I
Yep.
just got to a point to where I was sick of hustling backwards. I was sick of jogging in place, and I decided to make a change and to toe a line. And I've been successful so far in my attempts to walk a straight and narrow path. And through fitness and through music and through the recovery community, I've met people that I never thought I would meet. I have,
It's beautiful.
yeah, I've cultivated relationships with a lot of beautiful people who genuine, hardworking people who deserve the very best in life. They just made one bad decision and had a rough go. I've made fucking 20. I was on APMP off and on for 20 years, and I literally just got off last week before last.
Yeah.
You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
Most
So
people,
it's
well,
like,
and that's like the most amazing thing is I can't tell you how many admin we've had and how many just people I've known who the very day they get off of AP&P, it's like the obsession just kicks back in, to be off. And well, I mean, and technically the month or two prior, you're off. I mean, your PO at that point loves you. They're confident.
they don't
You're
fuck with
good.
you. You don't
Yeah.
worry about a
You
test. They
know,
give you your
they're like,
paperwork.
if you wanted to screw up, you could, and you could easily start to tiptoe back into old behaviors because your PO has all the faith in the world now that you're going to be okay. And so
Mm-hmm.
just making it 1 week out or 2 weeks out, that's huge. Like I
Yeah,
just get so hurt
absolutely.
by all these people when they relapse right away because well, first of all, I get really mad and I get angry because we base our shit off emotions because I'm just like, you were never sober in the first
First
place.
place. Yeah.
I'm like, you're so because
You were
I'm hurt
faking the
because I'm so
funk.
happy.
You was lying.
But oh yeah, I know. But the truth is the addiction and the obsession is so fucking powerful
Very much so.
that once you have your freedom, it's like when you get to make that choice, it's hard for me it wasn't hard because my life was different.
Mm-hmm.
Um
You had already worked at. You had already towed a line, made a decision. You
yeah,
planned your work. You worked your plan until you got to a point to where it didn't make sense for you to go back because you've gained so much moving forward. And,
yeah,
and it's unfortunate for those of us who know that literally and cognitively in our heart of hearts know that I have thrived in this setting. You
yeah,
know what I mean?
Yeah.
I have, and I'm guilty of it. I'm super guilty of it. I used to do it all the time, literally all the time. I
Yeah.
get off paper. First thing I got to do, okay, cool. Let me go over here to the trap house right fast. Let me call a couple, and
Hmm.
then, and it's a cycle, and it's poisonous. I just got to a point to where I was super young when I fished in. I was super young when I first started going to jail. I was still in my latter teens. I was 17, 18 years old being walked from Farmington Bay into Davis County Jail, or, whatever. So it's, I know that I don't sink in those types of situations where I'm deprived of my friends and family and life as I know it, but I also know that it's not where I want to be. It's an incredible inconvenience for me to be in those types of places and putting myself in those types of situations. But what do you do? Like, I like to think that in recovery they teach us that, slipping and tripping, falling, stumbling, these are all a part of the process. Well, me, I agree, just because it's so it's what happens, to the majority of people. But I also would like to think that no, it's not supposed to happen. That's bullshit. Like, it all boils down to a decision. You can either do this and go backwards, or you could do this and you can move forward. You know what I mean? And it's worked out. It's worked out, and I mean, I'm humble, dude. I can't. I've been so blessed to where I'm just. I don't. I knock on wood all the time. I have to not pinch
I
myself.
love to hear that.
Grown
Like,
man.
just the smile that
Yeah.
you gave. Sorry to cut you off, but that's how I feel, right?
Yeah.
Like when I get to just say, dude, my life is good now. Like
Yeah.
I'm
I see your
grateful. Like
Christmas
I'm
tree in
happy. Like
February.
it's good.
Yeah.
You
You know,
know, like
it's
I don't have to worry about where I'm going to sleep. I have to take blankets off at nighttime because I'm too hot. You know what I mean? I get to
yeah.
choose how many pillows I want on my bed, and a really
Yeah.
good pillow, not a freaking shirt for a pillowcase. Life is good. So
Absolutely.
there's, and I love when there's other people who are happy about life. Like when you watch the replay, if you watch it, you just see the smile when you were just like, things are good. Like
Yeah,
they
things
really
are
are,
cool, man.
and
Like,
that's recovery. That's what people that we sat there and when we were locked up or out on the streets wishing for. And when you see those things and people are like, there's somebody out there praying for what you have. And it's like, those are the moments of just being happy.
very much so.
You know, Life
Absolutely.
struggles, okay, whatever. Shit fucking happens. Yeah, but tomorrow comes and we'll be fine.
You got to
You know?
dust it off. I've learned that I can, and I used to be the type of guy where I would scheme and I would plot and I would just fester in this cesspool of negativity and negative thinking and negative people, and the shit was just killing my vibe. It was not only bringing me down, but it was bringing down others around me. Like, a lot of like relationships that I can't even really call them relationships, because you know how that goes when you're high. You know what I mean? I love you, man.
Yeah.
You guys are sharing an experience, so you're just glad you don't gotta do it alone. Misery loves company. But once you sober up, it's the testament as to, do you stand one another? You know what I mean? Like, and it's just, I got so sick of that environment, and just politicking, and literally having to look over my shoulder because I fucked this dude's homie up, or his homie fucked my homie up, and just living in that chaotic environment just began to wear on my psyche, to a point to where I don't know if you've been on any of my like social media pages or outlets, but when I say I am the most positive motherfucker on the face of the planet, like, I'm not talking shit. Like, I took a page out of The Rock's book, and I'm just like so happy with, like, I'm all about love, life, and the pursuit of happiness now. You know what
Good.
I wish
Hell yeah.
nothing but the best for even my worst enemies. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I don't really have enemies. There's a couple people who might not like me. I don't give a flying fuck. You don't like me because of something stupid from when we was high. Like, shut the fuck up.
I
Let,
know.
let's think about something that's more. Let's be engaging. Let's be proactive. Let's not talk about problems. Let's talk about solutions. And I think that if we were to all use that mindset as a society and move forward, there's a lot of problems and situations going on in this world that really wouldn't be an issue if we all just took a proactive approach and did what you and I are doing right now and just sat down and had a conversation, laid everything out on the table, share your experience. And with me, like I've had the opportunity where I could sit there with a straight up, lightning bolt faced racist, and I can make the motherfucker like me. It's a matter of finding a common ground. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? There's a reason why you feel the way you feel. There's a reason why I feel the way I feel. And the Scorpio in me wants to explore that possibility. I want to know why do you feel the way you feel?
Yeah.
Without knowing me as an individual. You know, and I it's the same thing with when I talk to all my buddies who are still in active addiction. Like, what is going on with you right now that is the root of the problem? Like, it's an onion. There's layers. So there's always what you're going to tell everybody else, but then there's also what you tell yourself. You know what I mean? And that's what I want to know. And I figure that if I just jump on every morning, I leave some positive quotes, or I just drop some knowledge, or just put a little love into the world, man. I've had more people just reach out to me that are just like, dude, thank you for your post today, or thank you for that conversation the other day. Like, I was thinking about going back. I was thinking about giving up, and because of not necessarily me, but that positivity,
Yeah.
that good vibe I put out there. It's like, dude, like you genuinely made my day, and I feel better about my situation now. I feel I can conquer it. Great. That's all I want for you. That's all I want for myself. That's all I want for anybody. I don't care if your level of success is more higher than mine. Success to me is success, and success to me is having my bills paid, having my spouse and children happy, and just having the motivation to get my black ass up and go to the gym and work all in one day. That to
Yeah.
me is happiness. Like, I know what it's like to be at the party. I know what it's like to be at the bar fight. I know what it's like to be, everywhere else. And I'm over it. I'm just too, if I don't have business there, I don't have business there.
Hell
You know,
yeah.
so you just remove, it's all about removing that tumor of negativity from your psyche and from your situation. And it truly makes all the difference, in my opinion.
No, I agree. I agree for sure. As we close this up for tonight, I'd love for you to give us like a hope shot. Like, what's your hope shot for the addict who's still struggling, or the person who relapsed who wants to come back but feels, or to the kid or whatever? Like, just a good hope shot to kind of positivity, because that's where what we're doing. Did
Look,
you just freeze?
as far as I'm concerned, no, bam. I'm like, nah. No, no, I had to Will Ferrell you for a second. No, but I mean, there's so many good quotes and positive quips that I could leave. With me, my main thing is, look, what's been had before can always be regained. What's lost can always be, regained. What don't dim your light or your shine or your vibration for anybody. Dare to be different. Understand that it's not going to be easy. Nothing beautiful ever is easy, in my opinion. You have to work hard for it. And if it's a change that you invest your heart and your time and energy into, perseverance, and the turtle's the one that wins the race at the end of the day, not the rabbit. You know what I mean? There's some of us who are lucky, and our support and our circumstances make it to where we can get to that finish line faster, But I've also seen a lot of those people who have reached that finish line faster also fall back into old habits just because
Yeah.
they half-assed the process. It's not a process you can rush. It's always something that is going to be in the back of our minds. We're always going to get that itch or that one memory or that instant just thought. So just understand that you're not alone. It's tough for everybody. I know we've been seeing it all over the media and everywhere else the past year. We're all in this together, whether it's recovery, whether it's COVID, whatever the case may be. Just understand that all it really takes is a phone call to the right person at the right time, and for you to just understand that it's going to take the work aspect from you in order to make the change happen. You got to be the change that you envision. You
Yeah.
know,
I love that. I love that. Well, thank you. I have a meeting that starts at 9 that I cannot miss.
handle it.
So,
Yeah,
yeah. So,
absolutely.
and I'll probably have internet problems because we all know how that goes. But thank you. Right. Thank you so much for coming on here. You're rad. I'm glad. I can't wait to see your positive posts because I feel like I'm the guru of positivity, and
Oh,
it'll be nice
dude,
to see somebody
check it
else.
out.
Oh,
Check it
dude, I'm
out.
stoked. We just became friends on Facebook today, so I'm great. I know. Watch out. Watch out. I'm grateful that thank you for taking the time, out of your day and sharing and the space with us and being willing to just be open and honest and create that space for other people. Anybody who wants to, what needs to, or if you want to, Brandon, I don't think I need to ask your permission, but you can reach out to him if you're ever struggling at any time. His name is up here at
Please,
the top.
please.
Um, you can add him on Facebook too, or follow him because if he's got good positive stuff, please do. And if you're struggling, please reach out. If you know somebody who's struggling, reach out. Make sure that you have Narcan available. If you need fentanyl testing strips, we have them. And just be there for yourself and be there for other people. Thank you very much. Have a good night. There we go.
Nice. It was awesome talking with you.
Okay, now it's closing.